You ever been in the middle of your workday and bam, your company laptop just decides it's time to update? It's not magic, you know? It's all part of this massive, kind of hidden system that's designed to keep thousands of computers secure and running smoothly. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see how that whole thing actually works.
I mean, really think about this for a second. Not one computer, not 10, but 10,000 of them. They all have different software, different users, different schedules. So how in the world do you push a critical security update to all of them at the same time without causing a complete and total meltdown? Well, the short answer is you don't. At least you don't do it by hand. It would be physically impossible. This challenge, this logistical nightmare, is the very definition of chaos in the world of corporate IT. And it's a problem that every single large organization has to solve.
And this brings us to what's officially known as the enterprise patching problem. And trust me, it's not just some minor inconvenience. It's a security nightmare that, if you don't manage it properly, can leave a whole company wide open to major attacks.
The scale of it is just immense. We are talking about thousands and thousands of devices, everything from the most critical servers down to every single employee's laptop. And each one represents a potential entry point for a cyber attack if it isn't kept up to date.
So, how do you bring order to all that chaos? Well, you build a control center. And for many of the world's largest companies, that control center is a really powerful piece of software called SCCM.
SCCM, which stands for Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, is the tool that makes all of this possible. The absolute best way to think about it is like an air traffic control system, but for software updates. It directs everything from a central hub, making sure every update lands safely without causing any collisions.
Okay, so this system has three key players. First, there's a thing called WSUS. Think of it as the librarian. Its job is to get the master list of all available updates from Microsoft. Then you have the SUP, which is like the gatekeeper. It takes that list from the librarian and feeds it into the main control center, SCCM. And finally, the really cool part, the ADR. This is the autopilot, which automates the entire process based on rules set by the IT team.
Now, these parts don't just work on their own. They actually form this highly organized supply chain for updates. So let's follow the data from start to finish to really see how it all works.
So it all starts with Microsoft, obviously. They're the source. The WSS librarian then downloads the information about the updates. Now, this is important. Think of it like a table of contents, not the full book. SCCM pulls in that information, and that's where admins create the rules. The actual update files themselves, they get sent to local servers called distribution points. This means your computer gets the update from a server nearby, not all the way from Microsoft, which is way, way more efficient.
And this, right here, is where the real magic happens. Using this system, the entire monthly cycle of deploying security patches can be almost completely automated. It all rolls out safely and efficiently without someone needing to physically go and click install on thousands and thousands of machines.
Those autopilot rules we just talked about, the ADRs, they are specifically designed to handle something called Patch Tuesday. Now, that's just the unofficial name for the second Tuesday of every month when Microsoft releases all its security patches. For IT departments, that day kicks off this whole process.
Now, you don't just push an update out to 10,000 people at once. That would be completely reckless. Instead, you use a phased approach. First, the update goes to a small pilot group, usually the IT department themselves. If everything looks good after a couple of days, it gets rolled out to a larger group of testers. And only after it's been proven safe does it finally go out to everybody else. This whole process prevents one single bad update from causing company-wide chaos.
But what about those really critical servers? You know, the ones that absolutely cannot restart during the workday. That's where maintenance windows come in. This is basically a rule that tells SCCM, hey, you are only allowed to install updates and reboot this machine between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. on a Sunday. It's a simple rule, but it prevents catastrophic business disruption.
So we have this amazing, powerful automation in place. But the technology itself is really only half the story. Just like with any powerful tool, it's only as good as the strategy behind it.
Because even with this incredible automation, things can go wrong if the strategy is flawed. For example, if you notice an update never installs on a server, it's almost always because someone forgot to give it a maintenance window. If users start complaining about sudden reboots, it's probably because of poorly configured restart notifications. You see, in the end, the machine is just doing exactly what it was told to do.
So what separates a smooth operation from a chaotic one? It's all about the human strategy, always using pilot groups first, treating servers and workstations differently, and integrating the whole thing with the company's formal change management process. The real control comes from the process, not just the technology.
Ultimately, this whole system leaves us with a pretty fascinating idea. We can build automation to control unimaginable chaos, but it's never truly set it and forget it. The system only works because people are designing the rules, monitoring the results, and making sure the machines are doing exactly what they're supposed to. The real control isn't in the software, it's in the strategy behind it.